bombings, but they also matter to the election. How are the two candidates who want to be president of the United States dealing with it? And we heard a big speech from Donald Trump yesterday about trade. It was real. We keep saying how. He gave you how yesterday. How does it size up with what should be done? Two big issues. Let's discuss. We have Matt Schlapp, former George W. Bush political director and chairman of the American Conservative Union. He has endorsed Trump for president. And we have global affairs and economic analyst Ali Velshi. Matt, you see this situation in Turkey. You hear Trump's response. Why is that the winning formula for what to do about ISIS?
Look, poll after poll after poll, including the poll that shows him trailing Hillary Clinton the most, shows him on the question of, will he have the leadership to destroy ISIS? He has the most commanding lead over Hillary Clinton. There's something about the guy where he connects to voters on the fact that they feel, I think this is very true in America today, they feel that we lack leadership and a true understanding of what's going on in this war against Islamic terror.
Regardless of the facts on the ground, we've had every expert today say what you know and you know, Ali, which is they're losing ground,
right.
ISIS is, and that's forcing different desperation. People don't care. You don't call them Islamic radical terrorists. You won't do waterboarding. You don't want to be as tough as they are on us. You're weak. Trump says, I'll be strong. Is that enough?
Well, the generalities make him seem strong. Again, as you just talked to others about, the specificity helps here. Some troops on the ground, that's what a lot of people are calling for. But the fact is, we are showing that what we've got there, those some 5,000, 6,000 troops, are pushing them back. They're out of Fallujah. Mosul's going to be a little bit tougher, and getting into Syria is going to be next to impossible because the Syrian government doesn't want the Americans there. So we have to think about this in a sophisticated manner. You have to weaken their infrastructure, and you've got to get to their finances. And that is something that our allies in the region can be most helpful for, because the money they're getting is coming from the region. So we have to just be sophisticated about this. Saying generally that we have to be tough and this is really bad, while it appeals to people and it's visceral, and I get that, isn't a solution. I think Hillary Clinton could do with a little more detail on her plan about how to do this as well. So I think there's a middle ground, and it's right, and George W. Bush got that it's complicated. This thing is very complicated.
Look, in all fairness to her as a candidate, I don't know how she now tells the American people that she has a strategy on radical Islamic terrorism, because she was President Obama's Secretary of State. She owns the last 7 years, no matter what she says at this point.
But how do you, so then your suggestion is to write off any of the gains on the ground against ISIS?
No. Let's be fair. Let's give them credit where credit is due, but I think...
It never happens, by the way.
Okay.
Nobody ever says
well, maybe with you,
that they're pushing back.
Maybe with you.
No, but I'm saying you don't hear anybody, Trump or anybody, saying we're winning on the ground on ISIS. Nobody says that.
I'm going to say this. I want them to win. I think these people want to destroy America, and I want them to win. Here's
you want who to win?
But I want America to beat these guys.
Of course you do.
I want the president to succeed, okay?
Of course you do.
And I wanted Hillary Clinton to succeed when she was Secretary of State. But they fell on their face, and they never saw what the true threat was. And what the American voter is saying, in poll after poll, this is not me saying it, this is what they're saying. They're saying there's something about these guys, they just don't get the fact that we have to take these guys on, and it's not just ISIS, it wasn't just Al-Qaeda. They're coming in self-radicalizing in America.
And when you have
like the Brexit
Let's give credit where credit is due about not understanding Iraq. I think that goes back to your administration. So everybody doesn't understand it. It's complicated.
Cheap shots. Go for it.
I'm trying to say there are lots of people who don't understand it. This is really, really complicated. So Donald Trump's simple answers belie what the Bush administration didn't know and what the Obama administration didn't understand. Why do you think he knows it better than two administrations over 16 years?
I think for voters this isn't that hard. I think they'll give a leader the benefit of the doubt that it is complicated, and this is a big, hairy problem.
It's been 16 years of giving leaders the benefit of the doubt.
Of defeating this terrorist threat. It's a big problem. They want them to connect with the fact that they're worried about it, that they're scared about the future of the country, and when you can't call the enemy what the enemy is, and when San Bernardino happened, you know what they did with the flags when they put them at half-mast? They said it was workplace violence. That's discordant with where the voter is. They know what this is. These are terrorists among us.
There's got to be something to what Matt's saying, because we're seeing it in the polls.
I agree with him.
But and I get it. You're there saying you got to take the next step.
None of it solves the problem of ISIS.
But sometimes what people want to first be is consoled and know that emotionally you are where they are as their leader. So that's one issue. Now, an issue that is not as emotional is, how are you going to bring jobs back into this country? Everybody says they're going to bring jobs back in every election. Yesterday, Trump gave a speech saying how he would do it. So the critics who say he never does that, shut up. He did it yesterday. What were his main points?
I think his main points, his biggest point in all this is He's a businessman. He negotiates deals. What these trade deals are, they're not free. They're just contracts that get negotiated. And he's sending a message to China and the rest of the world that if he's the leader of the American economy, he's going to negotiate much tougher deals.
NAFTA's going to be gone. The current state of affairs with China's going to be gone.
You know that it's.
That's what he was saying.
Well, I think what he's saying is that he's going to use all the powers he has to make sure that he stands up for the American worker. Hillary Clinton.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
The speech, he said, I'm going to get rid of that deal.
He did.
I'm going to change the deal with it. You went, What's that about?
Well, you have to follow.
You endorse the guy for president.
I do, and I want him to be president. I'm
Right.
just saying that what he's saying is that we have to go through a process where we get rid of the bad deals. I think it's more complicated than just saying he's going to get rid of it. I think you have to go through a process to get rid of these deals and to renegotiate deals. And I think the message he's sending is the right message. But just let me tell you something else. One of the reasons why manufacturing has left is not just because of maybe a poorly executed deal. It's also because our regulatory environment and our tax environment. We have the highest income taxes on corporations in the world. Hillary Clinton said in her speech the other day, let me finish. Let me finish. She said, I'm almost done, buddy. I'm almost done. She said she wanted to raise those income taxes. That's not going to create any jobs.
I guess we have to go to commercial break.
Allie, hold on a second. Use your time to make some points. You say that there were some dishonest premises in his speech that need to come out.
Yeah, well, there are a few of them. First of all, again, the people who wanted NAFTA more than anyone was the Bush administration, Carla Hills. They negotiated it, couldn't get it finished. He talked about bringing jobs back that are lost because of low wages. A third of our jobs, if not more, in manufacturing have been lost to gains in productivity. We manufacture much, much more in America than when Barack Obama became president. The fact is, it's a bad situation, but we manufacture more with fewer workers, and they're not getting paid as well. That is a reality. Is he going to undo technology? Are we going to start to actually have people make things by hand?
No, but let's face it, we should not.
Even iPhones are made by robots.
We cannot make everything here. But we ought to acknowledge some things. When we don't manufacture things here,
so hold on. Let me talk.
You're really not going to let me finish. We make them.
I'm kind of enjoying the dynamic, though. I have to be honest.
Let me finish. If we don't manufacture,
you couldn't stop talking to me in the green room.
If we don't. Well, I've learned from my.
All right, make your point and then have a.
If we don't manufacture things in America, they are made someplace else in a dirtier fashion. And the fact is, we're not going to make
manufacture them.
We're not going to make everything here, but we can make a lot more here, and we shouldn't. We can't be cavalier about dismissing important jobs and turning them over to other countries and other sectors. I want to make as much as we can here. We can't make everything, but we should make as much as we can.
And so when you start taking away these tariffs and you start canceling these deals, how is it you think other people are going to buy your stuff and that you're going to be able to buy their stuff cheaply?
It's very simple. The other thing is, how do you think American products can't be bought now even without a deal? Look, after you get done with TPP...
Okay, so you know TPP lifts tariffs on 70% of the cars that go to Japan, on 87% of the cars that go into Vietnam. Like, that is actually part of the negotiation, getting American products into places. If you've been to Vietnam, they do nothing but drive. They want cars, but they're all Japanese cars.
Very good.
America
Let me just say, if you have a free trade agreement, they don't need to be so big and so complicated. And both economies, both markets should be freer. Unfortunately, when we get done with many of these free trade agreements, the American economy is open to them, and their economy stays closed.
That's just not true.
It is
Americans will be able to sell cars in Japan, in Vietnam, where, again, you don't see America. No, I'm not wrong. It's a fact. I know you'd like it to sound simple, but trade deals are not simple, Matt. They take 10 years to negotiate. Okay, everybody thinks the same way you do.
The Japanese economy is basically a closed economy. At the end of TPP, it'll only about 10% of that economy will be open to other products. The fact is this, that's not equitable.
Japan's one of the biggest economies in the world. 10% of the Japanese economy open to American products.
Let's leave it there.
It's a lot more than we have now.
This was actually progress. I want you to know that. In an election where all we're hearing is crooked and no temperament for president, you're going at the issues, you're giving the sides. It's valuable. Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it. On me.